Hey guys, welcome to deep dive number 5 of the Open Web Foundry, featuring Kevin, the founder of Pianity. And today we're going to be talking about how to scale fast. And Kevin has many insights on this from what he's accomplished with Pianity in a very short period of time during the Foundry and afterwards. And he's here to share those insights with you today. So Kevin, take it away.
Thank you, Jesse. Hello, everyone. It's actually my second talk on how to scale fast. I did one a couple of months ago. That is, I think, on YouTube. So I decided to do something different this time, so that it's not the same thing over again. And so I don't know if we can take questions, but also it's meant to be interactive. So if at any point you want to ask questions, I guess we can have them in the chat or something like this. So for those of you that don't know what Pianity is a marketplace where we allow artists and in particular musicians to turn their tracks into limited editions and to sell them to their fans. This allows them to earn way more money than they do on streaming platforms. To give you an idea, on streaming platforms today, 97% of the artists earn less than $1,000 per year. And on Pianity, they can expect to earn 10 to 100 times more, thanks to basically NFTs. And so we did the Open Web Foundry. I think it was like number 2 or number 3, like about a year ago, actually exactly 1 year ago. So we until today, so in 1 year, we released the platform, of course. We onboarded more than 400 artists so far, released more than 500 tracks. We sold more than 12,000 NFTs, which is about more than $2 million in volume. And also raised some money. We made the announcement like last week, actually. And in this talk, I'm gonna try to explain you some good practice we do have internally that allowed us to go probably faster than competition. You will see it's not like secret sources, but it's probably good practices. So I didn't prepare any slide, but I'm gonna go through them. And if during the talk you want to ask any question, feel free to interrupt and write them in the chat. So the first thing you need in order to scale is a great team, and by that I don't mean a big team. You don't need many people, but you need talented people. And at Pianity we started with 4 people, so exactly for the Open Web Foundry. So we got the idea of Pianity at the same time that the Foundry started, so it was a good coincidence. And we were 4 people, 3 tech people and 1 non-tech, 1 musician actually. And that was and the fact that we got probably one of the best developers you can find was a great thing for us, because we absolutely wanted to have a working prototype by the end of the Foundry that lasted for like 6 or 7 weeks. And we wanted to onboard our first artist before the end of the Foundry as well. And so what was really important first was the deadline. So the Foundry was really good because it set a deadline that seemed really difficult to reach, but with like the pressure, but also with the adrenaline and like all the other teams trying to go really fast as well, it was like a good momentum. So yeah, it's really good that you do the Web Foundry to go, I guess, faster. The other thing that is really important is to organize well the team, like to define clearly who is doing what. So for us, it was really easy. We had a front-end developer, a back-end developer, myself doing the smart contract, and then we had Simon, my other co-founder, going to talk to artists to get them onboarded. And for that, we do have some rituals. So every morning, like kickoffs and other meeting where we define the strategy and what are the next steps. So what is really important to go fast is to be able to prioritize well. And I'm going to tell you a bit later how you can have the right, make the right decisions, because what I've seen is some startups going everywhere, like in every direction. But if you're not really focused on one goal, you're way slower, because you're gonna lose some time doing stuff that don't have that much impact. So yeah, that would be for the team. So for the team, so really important, a good team with good people, define properly like who is doing what, and also regular meeting, to be sure that everyone is going at the right pace, and that the deadline is still reachable. And then the second thing is, don't code straight away. Talk to your users first. What is really important is when you're going to build your startup, you're going to solve a problem. For Pianity, it was that artists don't earn a lot of money. For other startup, like if you are doing a B2B startup, it's going to be different. Well, everyone is tackling his own problem. But what is really important is you talk to your users first, and then you start coding. For example, at Pianity, at the beginning, we didn't want to do NFT. What we wanted to do was to store music permanently in order to be able to prove that you have the copyrights on your tracks. So that was the first idea. So it was just to store the data on Arweave, and then have like some kind of certificate saying that it's you that uploaded the track. And we find out that it was a problem for people, but it wasn't a problem artists were willing to pay for. And the main reason was the artists didn't have any money, so they wouldn't want to pay for this kind of solution. So that's when we pivoted. So that happened during the first day, like the very first days of Pianity. And we decided to change, and to, instead of having the artists as customers, so the artist paying, we decided to help the artist earn more money, and that's how we got to Pianity as it is today. So yeah, talk to your users, because if we started coding right away, we would have spent weeks building a solution, and then we would have found out that no one would want to pay for it. And then we would have to start over again. And so we would have lost probably, 4 weeks, and maybe more doing so. So yeah, really important, talk to your users. And it's not only true for the first day of what you're building, it's true like during the whole life of your company. And especially in Web3, where community is so important, we don't really have any excuse, because most of us, we have our own Discord where the community is. So the community is really close to us by essence. So there is no excuse not to talk to them. Then my second advice is to launch fast. Once you have an idea, once you talk to people, once you're convinced that it's a problem that is worth solving, then you should launch as fast as you can. So, like what they say, define, like build an MVP and launch it. And you should go fast. Why? Because at this point, you're still not 100% sure that what you're going to build is you have a pretty good intuition, but maybe it's not. So you don't want to spend too much time building and before getting new feedback from your customers. So if you launch really fast and you find out what you're doing is not good, then you can launch again. And so you don't need to build a perfect product. You need to build a product that is good enough for proving that your hypothesis is right. So, for example, you don't need a perfect solution. At Pianity, when we released our prototype, you could not use your own Arweave wallet. You could not use Connect, for example. It came months later. You could not, and actually you still can't, on Pianity, you still can't resell. There is no marketplace. You can only buy NFTs. You can't sell them yet. And I have many examples of this. It was quite centralized at the beginning and then decentralized. And we made those decisions because to us the priority was to help musicians and was to test our hypothesis. So will musicians accept to release NFTs, and will their fans buy those NFTs? And once we started to have a conviction that yes, it was still interesting, then we started building new features. And the other advice regarding the prototype is we are in, we are trying to build decentralized stuff. We are trying to build like Web3 software, but it doesn't mean you have to do something fully decentralized yet at the beginning. Decentralization has a cost, which is flexibility. It's way easier to edit things, to change things that are not decentralized. And so that's why you should prototype things in a centralized way. And then as you test things and you are more convinced, you can start decentralizing them. And it's what most of the successful company you see are doing, like they start as a normal company and then they become a DAO, for example. And the final advice is, like every day is a good day to launch. So don't wait like weeks in order to launch. Launching is not really a special event. No one remembers, Facebook launch. No one remembers Bitcoin launch. Like we do have the white paper, but a few people only were there at the launch. So even if you fail, and Bitcoin actually failed, it had to be restarted sometimes. So even if it fails, no one will care because only a few people will see it, right? So you can relaunch the next day and relaunch again until it's good. Right? So yeah, launching is not a big matter. It's just a pretext, to launch again and start over. Finally, what was really important to Pianity was to raise funds because when you're 4 people in a company, you can't do everything. As you notice, we didn't have any designer or anyone, so you can't really build an appealing product without this kind of people. We didn't have anyone for communication or stuff. So we lacked a lot of skills. And actually, remembering how we did the design and everything is quite fun. We did it really like how we could do it. So it was quite fun to remember, like how small the team was and how we would do things with what we had. So yeah, raising funds is really important because with capital you will be able to hire people to help you do what you want, and you will be able to have a really good team that has all the necessary skills for your success. And same for fundraising. There are a couple of advices I can give. I think there is another deep dive on the subject, but to give you a full some examples. The first one is actually the Open Web Foundry helped a lot because at the end of demo day, we got a lot of investors contacting us. So it was really, really nice to have this. Also, some of our investors were actually our users. So by talking to our users, we met with some investors. So also, that's why talking to users is important. You never know like who are your users. And at the early days, a lot of them might be investors because they like to try those new products, especially if you do demo day, like they're gonna try your product and then you can talk with them. And yeah, so we met some of our investors because they were users. And so the advice is when you raise funds, it's all about momentum. So when you decide to go and raise, you need to book as many meetings as possible during every day, so that even if you get a no, you have the next meeting coming, so you're not really stressed because the next one is going to be a yes probably. And if someone tells you yes, you should definitely send him like a DocuSign like straight away with all the conditions, get his signature, and get the money as fast as possible. When we raised, so we raised 1 million in May last year, and so we raised it in 1 week, and the day we closed was the day Bitcoin completely crashed. Like the market was a mess after this. and all my meetings were canceled, right? So we closed the right day because one day later it would have been a mess to raise that. So yeah, timing is also really important, and I would advise you to try to raise during bull run and not bear markets. It's always way easier to raise during bull run. Everyone feels so rich that they are willing to put money everywhere. So yeah, don't go against the market. Try to raise when the market is rising. And so finally, the last topic I wanted to talk about is prototyping. So today that we are a bigger team with more skills, what allows us to go really faster is that we don't code straight away. We prototype first. So we do have our designer do all this prototyping on Figma, and we try to have everything, like almost 2 months in advance, so that in our head it becomes clearer and clearer. We do some small modification, and when our developer team, our tech team, code it becomes like really straightforward. It's just you take what the designer did and you code it, and it doesn't need to like ask questions about why is it like this, or is there is something missing, or this button, what does it do? Like everything is completely clear, and that's way more efficient. And also the other impact is when it's coded, there is only debugging to do, because we won't modify it. It was already like fully thought of, and it's already like fully clear on paper. So yeah, prototyping to us was really important. It also allows you to iterate on the prototype, which is faster than iterating on code. And it allows you to do like user interview, make them try the prototype, see if they understand it, see if they behave as you would want them to behave on the prototype, so that when you code it, there is less and less surprises. So that's all for the like 5 or 6 points I wanted to talk about. And so now, yeah, if you want to ask any question, feel free.
I think what we'll do for the interactive part is we could just go walk into the crowd now, and then we can have like the mingle session is typically how we do it. And yeah, I didn't realize that you guys actually closed your funding round on the day that Bitcoin crashed. That's a crazy story. Very good timing for you guys.
Yeah, and actually Sam was warning me, like you should raise it fast because I don't know what the market is gonna be like. And he was right, because like a few days later it completely crashed.
Wow. That's very lucky. But yeah, we can go head down into the audience now. And I just have one final announcement, is that we are going to have demo day on March 31st. So Kevin, who's a former presenter at demo day, he can tell you a little bit about that as well. And we're going to be having it on March 31st for the Open Web Foundry 6. We're going to be selecting 10 projects. So for more details on that, we can also go talk in the mingle area. So I'll see you guys down there.
And also I wanted to give you a small gift. So if you want, you can try to scan this. So it's a free NFT from Pianity. So with this, you will be able to claim a random NFT from the platform. I think it's like a rare edition or something like this. So if you're not on Pianity, it's gonna be your first NFT. So I'm gonna leave it there like a few seconds, and for you to scan it.
Yeah, we can also go in the mingle session and have people scan it in the seats as well. But we're gonna post this up on YouTube, so perhaps some people can get it from there as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. So thank you, Kevin. We'll head down there now, and thank you guys for being here. See you in a minute.
Thanks.